Welcome back to Seat Time. For this race recap, we are heading to one of my favorite properties to ride in Texas, Barnwell Mountain. The Iron Mountain Enduro is going on this weekend. It's going to be a great recap, and I hope you guys, if you weren't there, you enjoy joining us on the trail for one of the last TSEC races of the year. But before we head out, I have some work to do. It has been raining, and because it's been raining and I know the property there with rocks and roots, it can get slick. And so I'm gonna actually change out my tire. I'm actually gonna change out to a Talon Hybrid that I have. This could be the worst decision ever. Why could it be the worst decision ever? The hybrid tire is a gummy trail tire. I don't know how it's going to perform. I have not ridden it before, and if you look at the tread, you can tell that it's made to be able to be run both directions, so as one side wears out, you can flip it and run it the other way. What does that do? That compromises performance in one direction, right? It's great for longevity, but it compromises performance because braking and acceleration are going to not be as good as, say, the Starcroft 6, because all of the treads are not going in that one direction. Sure, they might be in the ground and scooping, but they're not scooping as good as they could if they were all pushing the dirt in the same direction. So let's get this thing mounted up. Let's get to the race. Again, if you have any questions about the tires, I'm going to do a recap about using the tire. If you have any questions about the way that I installed them using the Rabiconda, ask those as well. Sometimes when you're mounting a tire, not everything goes to plan, and that is what happened today, where I tried to put my last tire iron to be able to let the rim lock be able to be close to the tire iron but not be in the way of the tire iron was about an inch off. And so because of that, you saw me, I had to struggle. It was like, do I just take it all off? Do I kind of start over? Do I just make it and fight it? I decided to fight it. But you know what? Sometimes that happens, and we just have to do the thing. I'm not in the ISCE. I'm not doing this for speed. We're just going to go race our dirt bikes. Let's do this.
Just pick a spot! There you go, lead, there you go! First 7 miles down, and Barnwell backwards is amazing. They need to do this every year. Just flip it so we go a different direction every year, because it feels like I've never ridden here before, which is amazing. And they cut in new trail. So if you did not come because you're like, oh my God, the weather, you are missing out, because the new trail they put in is also epic. It is very hard to attack. Now, I may just be an extremely horrible rider, but it is so hard to attack in there. You know, you're dealing with a little bit of arm pump and a little bit of just like the body warming up, because they did start us at row 0, 7 miles in, baby, so you gotta like turn it on. It's tougher than you think sometimes, right? But that was a good 7 miles. I think we got another 6 point something, so we'll call it 7 miles here. And then we're going back to camp for gas. So far, very thankful that I came. It is very slick, but honestly, the weather is great. Not having dust for a while, I'm for it. Let's do this. Test 2 is done, and that might have been one of the coolest tests that I've ever done. It was 6.9 miles long, and even though there was a lot of double track, like some roads in there, the flowy sections they had probably up until about mile 5.5 or 6 was stinking amazing. Not only was the dirt crazy primo, but man, it just flowed so nice, so you could just kind of rack into the turn, rack into the turn. It was bitchin'. There you go. And then that last mile, it did get a little slick. It did get a little tight, but I'm okay with it. Guys, so far this has been awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it does look like it could still get pretty gross out there later today. And there is supposed to be some kind of front that's coming in, so we hope it doesn't happen. But we're gonna keep riding our dirt bikes. There were a lot of off-camber trails on the day. When riding off-camber trail, you want to put your weight into the downhill peg. This helps push the bike into the hillside, getting a bit more traction. I try to stand as much as possible so I can weight the peg more. If I catch myself sitting though, I try to press into the downhill peg by shifting my weight off the seat or by hanging my uphill leg off the foot peg just a bit. When I was back at the van after test 2, I felt hungry. I don't like to get hungry on the day. That tells me that my body is looking for nourishment and my current consumption isn't enough. I added a UCAN energy bar and a banana to my normal snacks. This did the trick because I felt energized into the next test section and the rest of the day. Come on. Test 3 is done. I don't even know where we are anymore. Test 3 is done, and that was the 9-mile section. I think we have about another 8 point something, so about 9 miles coming up. That was a bitchin' test section. It flowed in between like technical and slippery and snotty, some off camber in there. It was very technical. I really enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure the Sea Riders are gonna hate their life, but you know what? This is Enduro, baby, and we do hard things. I love it. We're getting ready to go into another longer test. It's gonna be a good time. And then we do our gas remote. I got my utility can caddy there at the gas stop. I got some refills for all the things. Man, I hope the energy stays high because right now I can tell that like, yeah, it's wearing me out, but that's part of it, baby. We're doing the thing. Whoops. Okay, come on. We just finished up test 4. We had a remote gas over here, which many people did not use, but everybody's like, oh my. But we've had about 30 minutes to rest, which honestly, I know some people are like, I want to get going. I don't mind it. Like, we were moving and shaking in there for like 2 9-mile tests. And these people over here, those are good people. Those are good people. They're good. I'm surprised they didn't moon me, but maybe that'll come later. So we got a 7-mile test, 6.8, something like that going in. But that 9-mile, that last section was really cool. It was a little bit more technical. It didn't have nearly as much fast stuff in it as some of the earlier tests when we did transfer in between different trails. I got a little off my game a couple times, made some mistakes, so I can tell that, like, just kind of attacking, a bit tired, things like that. It's just a normal day. Holy smoke! That was sick! That's how quick a slick root or rock can jump out of nowhere and bite you. Test 5 is where the Sea Riders dropped off, so the terrain seemed to get a bit more raw. I felt like I could charge a bit more in this test, but you can see my front end bouncing all over the place. It's a delicate balance of smooth riding and aggressive riding. I know what you're thinking. It doesn't seem like Test 6 started off very well for me, but I didn't let it get to me. Every rider makes mistakes, and you don't know how everyone else rode until the scores are posted. I pulled the mental tear off and kept charging hard. I got myself in a position where I couldn't quickly get to the shifter as I was losing momentum. I did what needed to be done to keep the bike from stalling. Judge me accordingly. Test 6 was a bitchin' A-only section. The hill climbs got a bit gnarlier and the downhills got a bit steeper. I am damn proud of the way I rode this test section and the way I rode the entire day. I've been finding my weaknesses after each race all year and then working on them to try and make them a strength. It feels like this race and the overall A result was a culmination of all of that work. When I came out of the last test, I took my helmet off, I high-fived one of the other riders that was there, and someone came up and said, "Hey, I think you're still in the overall A position." And I was like, "What do you mean? You were like overall A from like test 4 to now, but I don't know where it's going." And it took me completely by surprise. I'm gonna have a lot more to say about this year because there were a lot of things I learned all the way back from Red Canyon, from crashing trying to follow Cole, to what happened at the Golden Eagle Sprint Enduro. Every single race, I watched the footage and I processed what I thought were my weaknesses. I then worked on those to try to either make them strengths or to at least make them less of a weakness. I'm gonna make a lot more content going into that, and that's gonna come out later. So if you've made it this far, thank you. Please subscribe. Also, if you're one of the people that posted on Facebook or sent me a message, thank you a ton. It truly does mean a lot. I would have never thought that at 45 years old that I'd be back to a speed where I could potentially even put myself in consideration for an overall A award. I was always just going for a win in the 40A class, so this is awesome. Thank you for supporting Seat Time. Thank you for being here. Tell me hi at the races so I can tell you hi, and let's enjoy getting seat time. We'll see you for the next one. Peace.